It's Mondo Cool. It's Mondo Cool. It's Mondo Cool. That's right, boys. Mondo Cool.
Are you a Pokemaniac trying to catch them all? Well, if you are, you're going to want to check out this coverage of the Pokemon Mall Tour. That's right. I went out to Indianapolis, Indiana, and downloaded myself a Celebi, which incidentally, you can now go to any GameStop and get your own Celebi. But hey, yo, check it out. This is the Pokemon Mall Tour coverage. On February 19th, I drove to Castleton Square in Indianapolis, Indiana for the Pokemon Mall event. And the Pokemon Mall Tour is traveling the country right now, and you can actually go to my website and look at the times. When I first got there, I was greeted by these giant inflatable Pokemons, which were set up for photo opportunities, which I would have gotten my picture taken if I wasn't horribly embarrassed to be there for a Pokemon event and, you know, didn't go by myself. There were a few people dressed in cosplay, like, you know, this kid doing his Ash Ketchum thing. That girl there, which, you know, it's a shame I didn't see her from the front in this video because she was really decked out like some sort of scary ninja lady thing. In that GameStop, you could download a Celebi, which is level 50, and actually kind of the main reason I drove all the way out there to get it. They were screening the newest Pokemon movie, and I kind of assumed that it would, like, this mall had a theater and they'd be screening it there, but nope, they're just playing it on a flat panel. And, you know, that's cool, I guess. You know, I didn't really watch the movie because I have no interest in the Pokemon anime series. I've never really watched it. I've only been into the mainline games, and that's pretty much my level of Pokemon involvement. Now, that little booklet that you pick up with information, on the first page, there's 5 areas for stamps, and each area you go to, you get your booklet stamped. And then you jump in that long line, and you go up to this spin wheel and give it a spin, and you can win one of several prizes. There were keychains, styluses for your Nintendo DS, and one of them, which looked like the best prize on there that I could see anyway from where I was, is one of the 3 plushies for the Pokemon starters. Unless there was something cool like, you know, a free copy of the game, that would be neat, but I couldn't really see what was on the wheel from where I was. And, you know, it looks like something that would have been really fun for kids. This is the Pokemon Center where you could go and buy some really expensive plushies. Across that top row up there, the black and white Pokemons, the ones from the cover, those bad boys were $20 a piece. The smaller ones were $10 a piece, and the little vinyl figures were $5, and they're about maybe an inch and a half tall. You could also get a t-shirt and a couple other things, which you can see on this poster. I had a lot of fun down at the Pokemon Mall Tour event in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I picked up a couple of little mementos to remember the trip. That is Tepig, one of the starter Pokemons, and I personally think that's the coolest looking one. And then I also picked up this Zorua plushie, which looks kinda stuck up. Yeah. So, this is the bag from the Pokemon store. And let's put that there. This is the information booklet they were giving out. And this is what I was talking about. This is the stamp game. I only got one because I wasn't going to stick around and do the entire thing. And then you get your stamp stamped when you get your prize. See, it tells you a little bit about the stamp rally. And, you know, what's going on with that. The different activities going on with the Pokemon thing. You know, at each station it's got the different activities. Some information about the new upcoming games, Pokemon Black and White, which are going to release on March 6th, I believe. That looks very inappropriate. I can't believe they have not changed that. That needs to go. Look at that. Some new, exclusive, never-before-seen Pokemons. A new way to battle with double and triple battles and rotation battles. And, you know, I skipped out on Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire because of the double battles, but I don't hate them and they don't really force them upon you. The new Pokemon's going to have video chat, or if you have a DSi. If you have a DS Lite like I do, you're not going to be able to do that. But I don't think that even works over the internet. I think that's only with local play, which only works up to like 30 or 60 feet, so what's the point? You know, like, if you're that lazy to where you can't turn around and talk to your friends, you know, come on now. Catch different legendary Pokemon, find different wild Pokemon. The global link, you'll be able to upload your Pokemon to a website, and while they're dreaming, play different mini-games to get little doodads, bits, and baubles. When you first get the game, you'll be able to download an item to where you can go to an exclusive area and get this fire psychic Pokemon, so I'm probably going to be picking up the game on day one. I might even hit the midnight launch and tape some of that for the show. And, you know, hawking the Pokemon website. Yeah, here's some advertisements. And some more advertisements. Some advertisements. And then back here is a list of where the Maltor is headed to next. Very cool stuff. All in all, it was worth the nice little afternoon drive. Here is a look at the Celebi that I picked up in Indianapolis. Starting, what was it? The 21st of February, you can download a Celebi. So hit your Nintendo... Actually, no, you can get them at every GameStop. So go to GameStop and download one if you haven't. It's the exact same Celebi, which kind of bumps me out that I drove 2 hours. I wanted something, you know, exclusive. But there's my first legit Celebi. And what is, you know, what bumps me out is the original trainer is Win2011. Winter, you know, 2011. And whenever you get a Pokemon and you're not the original trainer, you cannot change the name of the Pokemon. So I'm stuck with this one being called Celebi. Now, since it wasn't a trade, you weren't really trading, it would be nice if I was the original trainer so that I could change its name. That's something Nintendo needs to work on, because I want to name this one Indy, you know, because I picked it up in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I want to be able to set it apart from the other 4 Celebis that I downloaded at the GameStop up the street. You know, for all intents and purposes, they're identical, except for the nature is different, I believe. Like, this one is quirky. Let's look at my other Celebi real quick. Yeah, this one is timid. So it would be nice if I could change the name on it. If you go to the name rater, it's just going to say, that's a lovely name. So I think that's kind of doo-doo that the event Pokemon has the, you know, store or the event as the original trainer. I've never really liked that. It'd be nice if I could change the name. Another thing I picked up in Indianapolis is this cold. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice, and I'm a little sniffly, but so that's a wonderful little keepsake, this stuffy nose and the horribly sore throat. Anyway, that's everything I picked up at the Pokemon Maltor event, and according to some kid that was behind me in line, the only place they're going to be selling these plushies is at the Maltor event, so hopefully those are exclusive. If not, whatever. I bought some overpriced stuffed toys. I especially think this thing is adorable. Look at this pig. This is the fire starter, so when I do get Pokemon Black or White, I'm not sure which one I'm going to pick up, I will definitely start with the fire pig, because that is cool. I always start with the fire Pokemon. That's just how I am. Seriously, that fire pig is freaking cute. Alright, moving right along, we're going to check out console number 7 on the top 10 console countdown. This is the Turbografx 16. Number 7 on the top 10 console countdown, the Turbografx 16 and PC Engine. The PC Engine is the Japanese version, which was released on October 30th, 1987, which makes it a Halloween console, which automatically makes me love it about 100 times more than anything ever. The Turbografx 16 was released on August 23rd in 1989 in the United States. And look at the disparity between these two consoles. The PC Engine over here, tiny, slender. Look at this. This is one of the smallest consoles I've ever seen. Very, very dainty. Comparatively, there is the Turbografx 16, which is the exact same hardware for the most part. It's just made a hell of a lot bigger. This is the actual console itself, and the standard model comes with a piece of plastic that's just a hollow case. This is the Turbo Booster, which gives you composite video and stereo sound, as well as another place to plug in your AC adapter. The standard unit uses RF, which plugs into here. Here's your channel select, channel 3 or channel 4. And in here is your regular AC adapter, which the shell, the piece of plastic that goes over it, has a little notch for the cord to fit in. Luckily, I managed to get a Turbo Booster, which is kind of rare and hard to come by. And the back of the Turbo Booster looks like that. Now, there's another similar item called the Turbo Booster Plus, which adds the functionality of stereo audio and composite video, but it also adds the feature of letting you save your games. It adds a little bit of memory. Some games like Newtopia back there support the Turbo Booster Plus or the Turbografx CD add-on. That's right. The Turbografx and PC Engine are the first video game consoles to use optical media. You're probably looking at these game cases and, you know, they're jewel cases. But inside are Hue cards. Or in America they were called turbo chips, but I just always call them Hue cards because turbo chip sounds weird. It's about the same size of a credit card. It's actually the same dimensions of a credit card this way, but it's about twice as thick as a credit card. And it came in these little sleeves. This one happens to be broke. There's usually a little arm right here that holds it in place. You know, nice manuals. Very nice packaging. I really like the way the packaging was handled with the Turbografx. And I do think the Hue card is an interesting media to put your video games on. Now, these are region locked, and there are ways around getting the region locking. You can buy a little adapter, which is really hard and really expensive, and I recommend just buying a PC Engine. Now, sadly, I've never been able to do a PC Engine review because I don't have the expansion that plugs back in here to give you composite video out. And as of now, I do not have a way to record from an RF switch. So that's kind of bunk. But, you know, a buddy of mine was in Japan, and he asked if there's anything you should keep an eye out for. And I got this PC Engine complete in box. It's yellowed, but it works fine. And I got it for 20 bucks. And then when he shipped it, you know, I just gave him 22 bucks to cover the console itself and shipping from where he lives in New York. So that is the PC Engine. Now, if you want to get into the Turbografx 16 or the PC Engine, it's going to cost you a little bit more than, say, Nintendo or Sega Genesis, but not too much more. I paid $40 for my first Turbografx, and another buddy from a forum was selling his Turbografx with the Turbo Booster, and I really wanted the Turbo Booster, and I got that for $40 as well. So you can find them on eBay for, you know, probably 30 to 50 or 60 bucks, somewhere in that range. You'll be able to find something. It's not a scene for everyone. Now, this is a 16-bit console, but it's not as powerful or as graphically impressive as a Genesis or a Super Nintendo, but it still definitely looks 16-bit. One of the oddities of the system is that it only has one controller port, and if you want to have two-player gameplay, you need to buy a Turbo Tap. And it's the same way for the PC Engine, which makes sense for the PC Engine because look how small it is. Fitting another controller port in there, you know, it's a tiny little console. But they doubled the size of the American Turbografx 16, so there's really no excuse for not throwing in another controller port. Now, the controllers look similar, except for the standard turbo pad comes with turbo buttons, you know, standard. So you have auto fire, and that is just, you know, a standard built-in feature of the Turbografx 16. But they use different size controller ports. Again, this is a lot bigger, and there's absolutely no reason for that. Other than, I guess, they thought, you know, a big system would be more marketable in the States. Bigger is better. Surprisingly enough, most viewers out there don't really know what the Turbografx is unless they're really into video games and spend a lot of time on the internet. The reason for that is that when they launched the Turbografx, they pretty much focused on bigger cities instead of, you know, a huge national campaign. So people that live in big cities like New York, Chicago, LA, Miami, they're more likely to have these in their area. I've never actually seen Turbografx at a garage sale or, you know, most used game stores. You know, I never see these pop up on Craigslist. I've seen a couple of Turbografx games at one used game store, but that's the biggest in the area, and they have, you know, most everything, you know. Like, I've never seen a Neo Geo game in there, but, you know, that's something you're never going to see in the wild. For the most part, anyway. But in Japan, the PC Engine came into existence when Hudson tried selling an advanced chip to Nintendo for use in the Famicom, which is what the regular Nintendo is called in Japan. And Nintendo passed, so they took that technology to NEC, the Nippon Electric Company, and they wanted to get in on the, you know, lucrative expanding video game market, so we had the PC Engine, which actually did very well against the Famicom and was, I've heard it sold more, but I don't have any, like, hard statistics or proof of that, but it did very well against the regular Nintendo. And it even outsold the Sega Genesis, or Mega Drive, which was not that popular in Japan. However, eventually the Super Famicom or Super Nintendo would come up and smite the PC Engine. And they made a bunch of poor decisions. There's 1,000 versions of PC Engines, and you know, CD add-ons, different versions of the CD add-on with different RAM expansion cards that you need to use to, you know, play the system. And it just became kind of a mess towards the end for Hudson and NEC, towards the end of the PC Engine's reign. However, in America, almost no one knows what a Turbografx 16 is. It just was not as popular as the Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, or Sega Genesis. So, not a lot of people know about these, so it's a little rarer that you come across these. But I do recommend getting into these games. There's a lot of great games. If you like spaceship shooters, Galaga 90 back there, one of the best games on the system in my opinion. I absolutely love it. It's my favorite version of Galaga. You know, if you like games like R-Type or Darius, this is the system for you. Now, there weren't that many games released in America. If I remember correctly, somewhere around 150 or so. But in Japan, there's well over 700 titles. So that's why I recommend having a PC Engine if you want to really get into the scene. Plus, the games were edited for difficulty and content. Like Splatterhouse back there is one of the biggest games on the system. A lot of people really want to get, you know, Turbografx just to play Splatterhouse. And the PC Engine version has certain things in it that were cut out of the American version. There's a level that takes place in a church, but they remove a couple of items from the background, and instead of crosses, it's just like scary little faces or something. And so they removed out, you know, any religious symbolism and a little bit of gore. But Splatterhouse for the Turbografx is still a very gory game, and I highly recommend it. We're going to take a look at that in action, and after this, we're going to have a review of the Splatterhouse. Great game. Newtopia is it's a lot like Zelda. It's very much a Zelda clone, but it's a very good game. Definitely worth playing. If you like Zelda, you will probably love Neutopia, and Newtopia too. Now, I have mentioned the CD add-on, and in America, they released another version of the Turbografx 16 that had the CD add-on built in, the Turbo Duo, and that is very rare. You're not going to find one for less than $200 on eBay, if you find one at all. Very expensive. The CD add-on for the Turbografx 16 is also very expensive, and I have not been able to get into it at all. The benefit of that is there's no region encoding, so if you get a PC Engine and a CD add-on for it, or the PC Engine Duo, the CD games have no copy protection and there's no region protection, so you can just burn up every game on the library. So that helps make up for the cost of getting into the hardware itself. Yeah, so that is why Turbografx 16 and the PC Engine are number 7 on the console top 10 countdown. Let's go ahead and take a look at that Splatterhouse review. That's one heck of a console. I know I promised Splatterhouse, but you know what? Had to change your heart, had to change your mind. Let's check out the game Newtopia for the Turbografx 16. Long ago, in a place far away, there was a land called Neutopia. It was a land of peace and prosperity where people worshipped at the sacred shrine. A beautiful princess, Aurora, blessed the people with her wisdom and kindness, until one day the evil demon Dearth appeared. He kidnapped Princess Aurora and stole 8 precious medallions. Now, a brave young man named Jazita sets out on a journey to save the princess and recapture the stolen medallions. It is a journey that will take him through the many strange and now dangerous worlds that make up the land of Newtopia. It is a journey of magic and wonder, of swords and armor. You must conquer the ultimate evil to return this once beautiful land to peace. That is from the instruction manual of Newtopia, and is a pretty good summary of where the game picks up. This lady here is basically telling you what I just told you. That guy that shot down like a lightning bolt made off with the princess and some sacred jewelry, and it's your quest to travel many dungeons and face many puzzles and challenges to recapture those medallions so that you have the strength and wisdom to take down the demon Dearth and recapture Princess Aurora. And this is very much similar to The Legend of Zelda and The Legend of Zelda 2. Now, the gameplay is very, very close to the original Legend of Zelda with the overhead view, and it takes a little bit of inspiration from Zelda 2 Adventure of Link, and that you have to go get the 8 different medallions from the different dungeons. The controls are pretty tight once you get the hang of them. It felt a little loose at first to me, but I eventually got into the swing of things. The biggest complaint that I'm just going to go ahead and get out of the way now is that to save the game you have to use really long passwords. And passwords are never fun. There's never a good time for passwords. Unless it's a puzzle game and it's only like a 4-digit password, then it's not so unbearable. But this is, you know, one of those annoying things. Somewhere I've got a text file with my game save on it. Now, if you do have a Turbo Booster Plus, you can save games like this to the internal memory. Or if you have the Turbo CD add-on, you can save your games to that as well. So that's one of the advantages to having a Turbo Booster Plus, the CD add-on, or a Turbo Duo, having the ability to just save your games. And you walk around, you talk to characters, you pick up treasure, you pick up bombs and potions, and it is very unapologetically similar to The Legend of Zelda. And that's really a good thing. This is a really good game. If you have a Turbografx, this is one of the must-own, system-defining pieces of software. You really can't go wrong with this game. Graphically and musically, this game is pretty gorgeous in my opinion. This came out in 1990. This is just a little bit before the Super Nintendo launched in North America, and what, 2 years before Link to the Past came out on the Super Nintendo in the States? So this game, when it came out, was a pretty good looking game. The only real competition it had in terms of 16-bit graphical visuals was the Sega Genesis. And, you know, at the time, those earlier games, these were on pretty equal footing. And it's a shame that most people only knew the Nintendo back then, and maybe a handful of people, you know, really knew about the Master System and Genesis. But this is a very good looking game. The controls are tight. This is the first dungeon. Pretty much, if you like The Legend of Zelda, you're gonna like this game. And it's kind of unfair to just keep going back to that, but that's really the style of game it is. It's an overhead adventure game with many dungeons and puzzles, items to collect, and new powers to gain as you play through the game. It's a very well put together game, and this was made by Hudson, which they're not too shabby with the video game making. I enjoy Hudson games. As a Turbografx fan, I mean, a lot of those games are Hudson titles, and they are very, very good games. If you like what you see on the screen, you're going to enjoy this. It's, in my opinion, a very good looking game. The music's very good. This dungeon theme is very nice. Sounds appropriate. So you should definitely pick it up. If you have a Turbografx 16, this is definitely a must-own. Also, if you're like the majority of people that sadly don't own a Turbografx 16, this can be picked up on Nintendo's Virtual Console, if you're into that kind of thing. And, you know, you really should be for this kind of game. It's one of those systems where it's hard to pick up, unless you're really into collecting older game systems. But this is definitely a game that shouldn't be overlooked by anyone.